It was the very first season of Big Brother Nigeria, right? It was called Nigeria. They're not even Nigeria. That's how old it was. Nigeria was not a thing.
Yeah, right.
So we were Big Brother Nigeria. I feel like we're just guinea pigs because nobody knew what this show was going to look like. We're going to watch, what to expect, and all of that. I didn't go into Blow, which is what you get now, because now it's like a path to entertainment and all of that.
Yeah.
I saw then the prize money was $100,000. Yes. And
I'm sorry. Hold on.
That was the prize money.
For a second, I thought you said nah. Then I was like, this guy said
it was $100,000 for the winner.
Damn.
I saw they still advertised in newspapers then. There was no social media. I saw the ad in newspapers. It was not the kind of thing I would have ever done. I was a lawyer. And my sister sort of dares me to do it. And I applied and they called me, went to the audition, saw Mad Babes. And I was like, yeah, I have to be in this house.
Right.
But the main motivation for me was the money, because I wanted to take the money, move to Yankee, get my master's, start my life there. That was the plan I had. There was no entertainment in my path at all. Then, of course, I didn't win and everything went left. Because now I had gotten the fame. I really wasn't enjoying being a lawyer and I was kind of broke. Fame and brokenness are not, very compatible.
Yeah.
So that's how this whole thing started. Everybody kept saying, "Oh, you have a great voice. You look good. Maybe you should try television." And I started going to auditions just to see what it would become. So you're kind of right in saying that it's not. Back then, it was just you had very regular people, right? There were people in my season who were like, we had someone who was a banker, we had someone who was just a single mom, we had someone who was a cabin crew member, and most people after the show went back to their jobs.
Yeah,
because then that was what Big Brother was. If you know about Big Brother UK, it was kind of what happened as well. You come on the show, you do your thing, you go back to your life. Yeah. As against now, where it's like I want to be the
media follows you and everything is
and you want to, and there was no there was even no Facebook.
There was no Facebook.
There was MySpace.
Yo,
you couldn't do anything with it.
Perspective for how old it was. Yes.
Wow, MySpace days,
Yeah, Facebook kind of came out like that year /07 was when it really became a thing. So you came out of the show and you could disappear because there was no way of tracking what you were doing with your life and all of that. And I just came out and did a few auditions and got my first job on NTA.
So that's first off, respect to your hustle, because I can only imagine then, like you said, going on a platform that everybody knows you.
Yeah.
Then you come back, you say you're broke.
Yeah.
So what made you now want to pivot into that? Like you said, people said they liked your voice, you want to go into, but what made you change your hustle to say like, okay, this is what I want to do full time in terms of being a presenter, being on TV, or being in the entertainment industry?
I said, the brokenness, first of all, motivated me.
It was the money.
I started doing this strictly for the money, I'm not going to lie. Because this voice, I never really thought about it, that it was a thing. But then I got into TV, started working on a game show on NTA. And I think when the money started coming in, at the time, I thought I was balling. I mean, dollars still had more sense at the time. So it wasn't bad money. But I now realized through it that this was actually what I was meant to do. I was one of those guys who went to uni and just studied law without necessarily knowing what I wanted to do with it. It's like, okay, there's no maths inside this thing. Let me just study it. And when I come out, I'll figure my life out. Practice for a bit. It wasn't really giving. And then when I found myself doing this, I started to fall in love with it while doing it and seeing what I could do with it. And I think I became intentional probably around my second year doing TV, saying that, okay, where do I want to go with this thing? And I was very intentional about building myself. I was never delusional about the fact that, okay, because I was on Big Brother, I was going to become the biggest celebrity next year. I knew that things were going to need to take their course, and I was very, very deliberate with it. There's a show I host now called Rubbing Minds on Channels, which is a live show. And I started hosting that show because I would always hear people who were broadcasters saying, you've never been a presenter if you've not done live television. And I'm just like, why? They're like, because there's no second takes, right? If you're able to hold a show for an hour without hearing cuts, take two, and do it flawlessly, then you're a great presenter. And I just said, okay, I need to get on a live show. And I was hosting this show on Channels. My father was watching. Most of my friends were.
The small wins.
It's that station where my generation isn't necessarily interested in.
Yeah.
But I was there and I stuck with it. And that was what got me Big Brother, hosting Big Brother. Because when they were like, okay, we're looking for a presenter who has live show experience. And that came into play eventually. Because now, every Sunday I'm on TV to 48 countries. I can't screw up. And they needed someone who had that experience already to say that, okay, whatever, there are 8 people speaking in my ear, while I'm presenting live, and I can't make a mistake. So those things matter. So I was very deliberate with everything eventually, but at the start it was strictly the money. I just wanted to make money.
So
People said it was going to make me money.
So did you go to university or start in Lagos, or were you outside Lagos?
I schooled in University of Abuja. Then I did my master's in DC, American University.
Okay.
So
Okay, I know.
yeah, I went to AU.
Okay.
Yeah, I got my master's, but this was all law. I did my master's in intellectual property and entertainment law. I had this bright idea that I was going to be the biggest entertainment lawyer in
Do
the
you
land.
handle your own law stuff
I
now?
was my own lawyer for 11 years.
Oh wow.
So I guess that was good investment.
That's I'm about to
Because
say,
those
that's
lawyer
a big
fees would have been-
advantage,
Yeah,
man.
I was
What?
my own lawyer for 11 years. I was
Right.
even lawyering for a few entertainment people.
based on the fact that you law
Based on the
yourself.
fact that they knew that this was what I did. And it was at a time when music was starting to become this thing and people didn't have lawyers. And I said, Ebuka, help me read this contract, sort of thing. So it was mostly just sort of, okay, nothing formal per se, but I did a lot of that for people.
Right.
But I mean, when my career became a little too, I had to now get the structure.
Fair.
There are times when I still feel like I can still do this, but I mean, man's
Time
busy.
management, all that stuff.
By the grace of God, we're busier now. But yeah, I did for 11 years. I was my own lawyer. I was my own manager, everything, because I knew what I needed to do. I mean, I had a master's in it. There's nothing you want to tell me that I don't. Even till now, with the lawyers, I still sort of review certain things and point. I'm like, okay, no, this doesn't look right. This doesn't look right. So it's worked for me for sure.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
So obviously, since Big Brother, you've done other stuff that
Yeah.
you probably even prefer to the work you did with Big Brother. But I'll say Big Brother, to everybody's perspective, was
Yes.
your apex. Do you sometimes hate that people pin that to you, even though it's not your best work, depending on if that's how you
Yeah.
see it? Sometimes someone will say that, oh, I know him for that movie, but you hate that because that was not even your best.
Yeah.
Your performance to you was that. Look at me for that.
Yeah.
So do you sometimes look at the shadow that Big Brother put you under and feel like, you wish it was a good platform, but do you sometimes wish people would see you for something else? And
Yeah.
if yes, what is that thing?
Hate is a strong word because I'm super grateful for being. I've hosted Big Brother for seven seasons or 8. I'm not sure now.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
so
do
I mean, it's something I'm very grateful for, and it's definitely took my career to a different level. This is continent wide.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it has done for me, so I can't say I hate it, but and it's also made me a better presenter because live television is tough.
Can imagine.
No matter where you're doing it, live television is tough.
What would you say are the tough aspects of it that are different to production sets and all?
I mean,
But obviously, like
the
yourself,
first thing I
messing
said,
up.
you can't mess up. And on Big Brother, for example, I have at every point in time, at least the director, the producer, the layman's term is the timekeeper in my ear, talking constantly to me while I'm talking to you guys. But I can't act like I'm hearing any of that
Right.
while the show is going on live. So these are things that there's a lot of that distraction. There's also the live audience that you have to also keep energized.
Right.
You have to make them feel like they're part of the show. But the funny thing is Big Brother is made for TV. So the live audience are just supposed to be props. But the viewers at home are more important. But you also have to keep them alive.
Right.
And I think the most important thing with live television is staying engaged, which is why I always say some of the best presenters in the world are people who have done radio. Because really, you're literally talking to yourself, right? In a box and trying to entertain people. I never did radio. But if you're able to engage people for an hour, 2 hours by just talking, I think it's masterful. And with live TV, you have to be able to do that. If you are doing something that's not live, it's easy to cut and join and make it interesting. But when it's live, it has to stay interesting because of you. So that definitely makes it harder.
Yeah.
But back to your question about, So yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for Big Brother. But I don't know that it's something I'm very proud of. But a lot of my interests, I have very diverse interests, right? Like this show, I tell you, I still do it on Channels Television. It's one of my favorite shows because there I talk politics, I talk relationships, I interview celebrities, I talk current affairs. Last Sunday, half-hour show was about the economy and the Naira spiraling and all of that. Those things sort of stimulate me a lot. But people are not going to care very much about those kind of things because it's boring stuff. It's
not entertainment in the way that
people want things that are going to go viral and all of that. So I take things for what they are. But I think the one thing I don't like is people thinking that this is all I've ever done.
That's exactly what I was getting at. So
That's,
you see,
that's
that
more
shadow
what,
is what I meant.
That's
Yeah,
more
exactly.
what
Exactly.
bothers me sometimes
Yeah.
because, I mean, currently I'm on 4 shows.
And I'm sure
Right.
people don't even
There's
know that.
Big Brother. There's a Cowbellpedia, which is a quiz show for kids,
Okay.
for primary school kids, which I love. I mean, I couldn't answer 80% of the questions.
Fair enough.
These 11-year-olds were answering.
Yes, he beat
and
me.
I was the host.
This is to let you guys know that this was rigged.
No, it's crazy.
Alright,
So
fine,
I do that. I do a show called Judging Matters, which finally combines my entertainment and law platform. It's pretty much Judge
I know about
Judy.
Judging Masters. Yeah, I think
Oh,
I know.
really?
Yeah, it's like Judge Judy, but it's
Yeah,
we're in
I
our
know
fourth
about that
season.
one. Yeah,
It's
wow.
hilarious, and it's real cases because we.
Oh,
what we
really?
did-
Oh, it's actually.
yeah. What we did was how we started was we sort of put like notices around magistrate courts
Right.
and said if you have any small claims, call this number because we have sort of an alternative dispute resolution license. So
Okay.
it's
It's
binding
actually
on
a
the,
case,
on the
yeah.
matters.
Oh,
So you have people who are dragging for 80K, and this I'm not. You might 80K might be small large money for, but
they
these
are
are
ready to
the
build
people
a
who is
case
like
on it.
rent for a
This is
year
like
is
life.
80K, and the landlord is dying because this person has not paid him his money. So you have a lot of those cases, and we've helped. But the thing is, Nigerians are just naturally funny, right? So the way they tell these stories,
Yeah.
is just
You want to keep a
hilarious.
straight face, but like.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guy talking about his landlord. He's a landlord in Ajegunle. This tenant was owing him, I think it was 110K. The tenant comes and says, well, why should I pay him? Apparently, the owner of the house originally was the boy's father.
Right.
His father died. Now, this tenant has been in the house for like 40 years. And he's not like, how can I be paying this small boy? Person where I know when they're born. Why will I pay him rent?
Right.
You know?
Right.
And the boy is like, what was annoying him was that when he goes into the kitchen, because they have a communal kitchen, and he cooks his soup with like fish, like ice fish and stuff, and this guy cooks with meat. That the guy has the audacity to cook with meat
Wow.
and not pay him. And by the way they tell this story,
Yeah.
I can
it's-
imagine
it's
now,
like-
like
it's so Nigerians are just funny.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and it's
I agree.
110K and he got his money, of course. But it's just like, so these are the kind of cases we do there. So that's another show I do. And of course, there's Ebuka Sons of Africa.
Okay.
I have so many things I do, but Big Brother is such a,
Big shadow.
what's the word?
Household
Behemoth.
Yeah, that's the word, behemoth, actually.
It's just like,
Yes.
people.
It's too
I
gigantic.
mean, Big Brother ends. 2 months later, I'm like, I see tweets, Ebuka, I can't wait for you to get back on my screen. I'm like, I'm on your screen.
like there's other
just
stuff. Don't worry,
check
there's
other
other stuff. Just go and
channels.
check. Like,
Yeah, but it is a massive show, and I can't blame people, to be honest. It is a massive
that's
show.
a blessing.
Yeah.
But let me go back a little bit now to your earlier days now. So obviously you have this success now, but coming up now after the show now, how are you navigating life as a young guy that I'm guessing now you'd have moved to Lagos at this point? So what was life for you dating wise, Lagos life wise? Because Lagos
you a
is
Lagos
not the
bad
same.
boy?
Exactly. Were you a Lagos bad
That's a
boy
real question.
then? Like how are you moving? The same way you see us now, like how are you then?
When I hear stories of what's happening in the streets now, I'm just like, we bless God.